Hey, what's up guys? We're here back with another video. So, there's a lot of stuff that's been going on lately in Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot of news, a lot of cards coming out. However, I don't really want to talk about Judgment of the Light. I'm going to talk about Maximum G, or whatever that other G card is called, the hand trap, which is actually pretty awesome. But today I'm going to be talking about Trifortressops and Maximum G together because they're both hand traps, and that is how I'm going to fit them in. So, first of all, we have Trifortressops. They haven't released a dark monster that's actually been half decent in a long time. Never mind the fact that it's a hand trap, so it's actually pretty awesome, I have to say. So it is a level 6 machine, 1600 attack, 2800 defense, and its effect is that during either player's turn, if your opponent summoned 3 or more monsters during this turn, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if this card is special summoned this way, it is unaffected by other card effects, but it loses 500 defense during each player's standby phase. So here are some of the individual features which I have observed. First of all, it is an ignition effect which activates in a hand, which means you are able to use Solemn Warning against it. You can drop max C when they reveal it, but you can also use it against the likes of Elemental Dragons when they have Line Darkness Dragon on the field. You just keep revealing it from your hand, lowering its attack and defense points. It doesn't say once per turn, which means you can trigger it multiple times per turn, as many times as you want on the same chain. And then the attack goes down to 0, you just special summon from your hand with 2800 defense, and you just sit there and laugh and troll your opponent. Thirdly, it protects against every conceivable card effect if it is summoned this way. There's very few cards I can think of, other than monsters with higher attack points, that can actually get over this guy once you bring him out. At least not until the next turn when his defense points are actually reduced. So you can't compulse him, deprison him, or mirror force him. You can't bottomless trap hole him. Solemn Warning is the best way to get rid of him, but then you're paying 2,000 of your life points. Your opponent is only using 1 card. I mean, it's actually not the best way to use your Solemn Warnings. There's so many cards. You can't Big Eye him. You can't use Dragosax effect on him by trimming a token. There's absolutely nothing you can do. The only monsters that can attack over him, in fact, as a 2800 defensive wall, no rank 3 monster apart from Massive Golem, and no rank 4 apart from Heroic Champion Excalibur. So, quote me, please be sure to tell me if I'm wrong on this. But I think he is extremely difficult to get over. So regarding the decks this guy is actually useful in, you're looking at the likes of Hermetic Dragons, you're looking at Machina decks because he's actually a machine and you can pitch him for Fortress. How cool is that? You're looking at Frog Monarchs because they run a lot of level 6 monsters that you tribute for. Chaos Dragons to an extent because he is a dark target and he also happens to be level 6, which means there is some synergy with like Pulsar Dragon to go into Exabeel, Bouncer, or whatever the hell you want to go into. So he is actually overall an extremely versatile card, and I very much look forward to seeing him in the TCG. So next of all we have Flying G, or Flying C, or whatever it happens to be called. The commonality between him and Trifortressops is that they are both hand traps, obviously, but also the fact that they both seem to lock down Xyzs summoning. So basically its effect is when your opponent summons a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand to your opponent's side of the field, and while it is face up, your opponent cannot Xyz summon. So it is actually an extremely useful lockdown card, not the kind of card you would side against the likes of Frog Monarchs, so that actually wouldn't be much of an issue for them anyway. But it would be the kind of card you would side against any kind of spam deck like Constellars, Evil Swarms, Windups, any deck that Xyz summons, which is pretty much all of them nowadays. Konami are trying to push the Synchro option in the future, and it doesn't surprise me that they're releasing a hand trap which seems to lock down Xyzs to this extent. So the fact that it's special summoned to your opponent's side of the field is particularly annoying, in the sense that, as I said, if they can't attribute it to get rid of it, then or Synchro summon with it, they're not going to be able to get rid of it at all. And if it's a deck that only Xyz summons and doesn't do anything else, that doesn't run Effect Bearer, that doesn't run any Synchros in the extra deck, that has no possibility of getting rid of it at all, then they're going to be an extremely frustrated person, and they're probably going to end up losing the duel. If this guy were released when Windups were still a deck, or at least when they were still an amazing deck, then it would have been absolutely ridiculous, and Windups wouldn't have done nearly as well as they did. They just go summon Rabbit, and you're like, okay, I'll just special this card to your side of the field. You can't Xyz summon. Just leave your Rabbit on the field forever and ever and ever. You have a bunch of dead Wind-Up Rats and Wind-Up Magicians and whatever in your hand, and there's really not a lot you can do about it. But Elemental Dragons coming out in the future aren't really going to have much of an issue, since they'll probably be able to tribute summon it and something else for another dragon. So it's not actually that big of an issue for them, but certainly other decks will have a problem with this card. Okay guys, that's it for the video today. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to comment, rate, and subscribe as always. And let me know what you think of both of these hand traps. If Konami have done anything in the last couple of years, it has been the release of a huge spam of OTK decks. And if there is something that we can do to combat that, 2800 defense means basically that no OTK based deck in the history of the planet will actually be able to get over it. apart from the likes of Dark Worlds, although I wouldn't even consider them to be an OTK deck. Megalo can't get over it, Abyss can't get over it, none of the Elemental Dragons can get over it, none of the rank 7, rank 6, rank 5, rank 4, or rank 3 XYZ can get over it, apart from Heroic Champion Excalibur or Acid And if you bring out Flying Sea against them in the future, then they won't be able to XYZ summon into that stuff anyway. So imagine special summoning that to your opponent's side of the field, and special summoning Trifortressops to your own side of the field. It's just like, oh my god, what the hell do I do? I'm screwed. See you later.